So, this week we're talking about my post run care and all the steps I take to make sure that my body is fully recovered for next week's training. Welcome back to the video, everyone. Quickly, before we get the video going, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a ton of new faces tuning into these videos every week. I want to say thank you to everyone that's joined me in the past couple months, and let me know what you guys think about this video by commenting down below. Before I talk about my post run care routine, I thought it'd be important to first talk about the most recent long run that I just completed over the weekend. As a quick performance check in for my marathon training, I'll talk about the route that I ran, the pace that I ran it in, how I felt about running it, and all the other juicy details about this last run and my performance. Right off the bat, I had to give this week's run a solid 8 out of 10 on my performance. The goal for this week was to maintain a solid pace for 115 minutes. I definitely met that goal for running a total of an hour and 57 minutes, so 2 minutes above my goal. But unfortunately, I think that's the only data point for my run that I actually trust 100%. I'll explain more what I mean by that in a bit. As for the route, since I knew it was going to be a longer run, I thought it'd be fun to see how far I can get around Manhattan by running along the coast and seeing how far I can get in that total time allowed. I'm no stranger when it comes to running around Manhattan, as it takes me to some areas that I'm very familiar with. Some of the areas I've even recorded previous videos at, so you might recognize some of the footage that I've captured now. At about the halfway point of the route, I'm actually running in the area that I ran last week in the financial district at the bottom of Manhattan. And I end my route running on the west side of Manhattan along the Hudson River, where I did 2 videos ago, where I talked about some of the worst parts of running in Manhattan. Check out those videos if you haven't already. But I ended my run just as I got to Hudson Yards, around that big honeycomb shaped thing. They think they call it the vessel or something like that. As far as total distance is concerned, my watch claims the route was 10.35 miles. And this is where I have the dispute in the data points that I was talking about earlier. Looking back at the little map that my Fitbit generated, I see where it says my starting point was, and that's definitely not where I started. I think it might be due to the fact of the amount of buildings that are in Manhattan, but I often struggle with GPS signal in the city. And I guess my watch has similar problems when trying to connect to the GPS. In the past, I've noticed some small errors in the way that it's tracking my route, but never in the extreme in the amount of error that it did for this run. On the map, it says that I started just about on 25th Street, but in reality, I started much higher on about 50th Street. Unfortunately, I didn't record at the start of my run, but I do have some footage of me running around the 45th, 43rd Street area, so at least you know I'm not completely lying and making this up. Either way, this loss of GPS cost me about a mile, maybe a little bit more. So, unfortunately, my pace is wrong and the total distance that I ran is wrong. Even with that unfortunate little error, I'm not going to let that ruin the entire run for me. I felt like it was a fantastic run. I was really pushing with my pace at some points, and you can tell that by looking at my heart rate during most of this run being much higher than what it normally is, because I felt like I was really going for it this run. I had very minimal stoplights, so I wanted to try to push it and go as hard as I can for as long as I can. But even going off what my Fitbit claims I did, I still felt I did pretty good, running 10.35 miles at a pace of 11 minutes and 23 seconds per mile. Still not my best, but definitely increased the pace from last week at a much longer distance too. With all that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this footage. I caught some pretty spectacular views of the Hudson and the East River, at least in my opinion. Caught some great views of the bridges. I don't think my footage does the bridges justice. I think only visiting them in person really gives it the scale of how big and how beautiful these bridges are. The bridges I'm talking about are the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge, of course. I do plan to run across these bridges at some point, but I'm kind of waiting for like a special event. Maybe I'll do it at 100 subscribers or something. I'm not too sure. I've never actually been across these bridges myself, so I've been waiting for something special, so hopefully that'll come soon. Stay tuned. Okay, so for this week's main topic, we're going to be talking about my post run recovery routine. In no way am I an expert on this topic, nor am I an expert runner, so again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is just kind of some general advice, as well as like what kind of works for me the most. So, of course, do your own Googling, your own talking to ChatGPT, and of course, just listen to your own body and what it needs. That's probably the first and most important advice I can give you. So, the first thing and probably most important part of my post-run recovery routine is definitely to get myself rehydrated. It's no surprise that running and other cardio really drains your body of liquids, so it's very crucial that you refill those liquids as soon as you can after long runs. I normally keep 1 to 2 large water bottles in my fridge, usually put them in just before I leave for my run, so when I get home I can slam them right away and start the recovery process right. Water's definitely the most important part, and you have to drink your water. But on top of your water, you should probably start replenishing your electrolytes. For those who might not know, electrolytes help your body by maintaining fluid balance, supporting muscle functions, and preventing dehydration in general. You can really tell if you're running low on electrolytes if you feel cramping in your muscles. That's probably the most obvious sign that you could use some electrolytes in your system. For replenishing those electrolytes, there's a couple drinks that I love. Of course, Gatorade. I get the Gatorade Zero because it has less calories overall. But also, they have this new drink. I think it's called like Electrolyte or something like that, which is specifically made with a bunch of different types of electrolytes in it. So it has a whole bunch of different types of electrolytes mixed into the drink, things like sodium and potassium that are, again, very important for getting into your body after a long, hard workout like that. If you want a little bit of a crazier way of getting your electrolytes in your system, now, this way might seem very strange and honestly might have a couple of you guys like kind of gag and reflexes, but it's something I actually like to do if I have them on hand is actually drinking pickle juice. Yep, I can hear the gags from here. But actually, pickle juice contains a lot of natural electrolytes in it already. That's what they actually use in the pickling process. So you get pickles, which I love, and also you get a ton of electrolyte juice that I can drink after a run, but probably only refreshing after like a long like half marathon training session. I don't normally drink pickle juice just on a whim. The next step for me is stretching and flexibility work. Now, if I'm honest, I'm probably guilty of not doing this as much as I should. Stretching and being flexible is very important when you're training for something like a marathon or any type of like physical event. It can help reduce time for your muscles to recover properly, as well as just keep your body in good health and just prevent injury overall. When your muscles are tight and when your body doesn't have the most movement, that's when you're most vulnerable for an injury. And for me, if I really have my goals set on this marathon, I have to do whatever I can to prevent an injury. So I'm trying my best to add a little bit of stretching and flexibility work at the end of my runs, especially the longer runs because that's where I suffer the most damage. As far as what I do for my stretches, I definitely do like a bunch of leg stretches since those are the ones that take the most damage. So like hamstring stretches where I sit on the floor and stretch out my hamstrings. Also do quad stretching, standing and holding your leg up, doing a good nice stretch in your front part of your leg, the quads. Also very important to do your hip flexing, so I do like a butterfly stretch for that, get some good hip flexor movement in there. I also love doing calf stretches, so against the wall, leaning against it and really getting a good stretch into my calf. And more recently, I've been adding some leg swinging to the end of my workouts, making sure I keep that movement and make sure my joints are all working correctly. I'm also trying to add a little bit of yoga to my routine, but I am a complete novice at yoga, so I'm having my partner help me. She does yoga all the time, and I just started maybe like 2 weeks ago doing like once a week yoga with her, and I have to say, I suck at it, but I can see the benefit of it, so I'm going to stick with it as long as I can. Well, as long as I'm seeing benefits from it. I'm going to take a quick break from talking about my routine to give a shout out to that amazing organization that I've been talking about this entire time. Hopefully, everyone knows about it. If you're new, I'm talking about New York Roadrunners and their Team for Kids program. I'm part of the Team for Kids program that's running in the New York City Marathon, and my goal for this year is to raise money for this amazing program. New York Roadrunners provides fitness programs for children, helping them stay active, learn discipline, and live healthier lives. I'm collecting donations by either clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code that's on the screen now. Your donations really help make a difference in these programs and help make these programs even possible, giving kids the opportunity to thrive. If you want to learn more about this organization and about me and why I'm running, go ahead and click that link that I talked about in the description or again scan that QR code. I want to thank everyone again for watching this far and hopefully together we can help make a difference. That's all I wanted for the quick break, so now we can get back to the recovery program. The last part of my recovery, and probably the thing I like the most, is taking a well-deserved break. Kick back, lay down, get some R&R. do whatever you enjoy the most to relax. Put on your favorite TV show or a movie you've been waiting to watch. Maybe just lay down and listen to some music and just let your body just recuperate from that beating it just took. For me, the thing that I find most relaxing after a hard workout is taking a very hot steam shower. I don't know what it is, but I just feel so refreshed after a nice hot shower. It's almost like a nice reset button for my body. On top of that, I also love to lay down on the floor and hang out with my rabbit. If you're new, I have a little pet rabbit, and one of the things we do to bond is when I just lay on the floor and just let her, sniff me all over and jump on me. So when I'm exhausted after a long run, it's the perfect time for me just to lay on the floor and let her just get super comfortable around me. That's going to do it for this week's video. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Again, just a quick reminder, please like and subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with somebody if you know they love running. Again, this isn't everything that I do in my recovery, but it is probably the most important parts that I do every time. Also, if there's something else that you love to do after your long runs or long workouts, leave a comment about what it is. I'd love to know what you guys do to recover and to relax. Who knows, maybe I'll try some out on a video sometime and rate which ones I love the best. I don't know, just throwing ideas out there. Last thing, just shouting out my other socials. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and of course here YouTube. All Macho Marathon Man, just like I am on YouTube. But that's going to do it for this week's video. Thanks again, everyone. See you guys next week. Bye.